Roderick and I went to graduate school together, and as grad students we came here to study the shipwrecks of Bermuda. And after we graduated and started teaching in our respective institutions, we came to realize that Bermuda provides a terrific resource and a wonderful environment in which to bring students, and it's a terrific learning laboratory for students who are interested in learning about maritime archaeology, maritime history, ship construction, all of the elements of the maritime world.
There are several reasons why we teach the field school together. One of the reasons is that we actually teach at very different institutions, so the student bodies are somewhat different, and it's nice to bring students from different backgrounds and different parts of the United States together into this environment, which is so rich with cultural resources and such terrific learning opportunities, so that the students themselves can interact, meet new kinds of people from different kinds of institutions, and learn about underwater archaeology together. Jim and myself have different areas of expertise, and so by teaching it together we complement each other in terms of teaching style and expertise and knowledge and so forth. So that's another reason why we teach the field school together. There are relatively few such field schools in the world, and this has been tremendously successful, and we've been delighted to work together.
We go that far.
We can't stand working together. Teaching objectives for the first few days were primarily centered around getting the students to look at shipwrecks as cultural resources, to actually stop, focus, observe and study the sites that we took them to. So often the students are so excited by diving on shipwrecks that they don't actually really look at the shipwrecks. So we wanted to get them to look at shipwrecks as cultural resources, as historic sites, and to focus on the individual components and parts and pieces.
Sometimes we pick the wrecks so they reflect chronological change. So we start with wrecks that were early, and then we take the students to a wreck that was later and later. It's one of the beauties of working in Bermuda is that they have this wonderful wealth of shipwrecks here that span the period from shortly after the beginning of the Age of Discovery all the way up through World War II. So we can take the students to different wrecks from different periods, and they can see how these ships have changed over time. In this particular field school, we decided to do things a little differently. And rather than show the students a temporal change over time, we wanted them to, as Roderick mentioned a few minutes ago, look at the structure, look at the resource, and we were trying to get them to look at things that would be informative to them about what this ship may have been. In the beginning, we didn't tell them much about what they were looking at. We asked them to go look at the structure and then come back with the questions and some interpretation of it. We then showed them what the wreck was, what the period from which it came, and the type of ship that it was, which answered a lot of questions. And then, unlike in past field schools, we then took the students back to the ships that they saw the first day with the new information they had, and following the discussion that we all had together, and they were then able to recognize the things that they were puzzled about before. They were able to put that in some sort of context.
After we had done that, we started to segue towards some of the research goals of the field school, which are to find new shipwrecks and to map one particular site called the Iron Clay site. It's different teaching undergraduates because the backgrounds of the students are not so closely focused on archaeology. We have students that from different majors. We have students that are agriculture majors, ocean engineering majors, anthropology majors, And so the students themselves are not dedicated to archaeology, or not all of the students are dedicated to archaeology as their careers. With graduate programs, it's usually the case that the students are involved in a program that's leading to a master's or a PhD, and that is their chosen career and their chosen field of interest.
It's a little different at St. Mary's in that the students that come to the field school are almost exclusively drawn from the archaeology program that's housed in the Department of Anthropology. So they come with a background in archaeology and a lot of the framework within which archaeology is taught. They've already been exposed to that. So a lot of this isn't new to them in terms of the concepts of archaeology, but what is new, of course, is the environment in which we work and the subject matter that we study.
With an undergraduate field school, the focus is much more on teaching, and in a sense, the research takes the second place to that. We accept a much slower accumulation of research data as a result of that, because our primary focus is on teaching.